All right, so the 49ers play 4 more games before the trading deadline occurs on November 4th. So, as we've talked about, John Lynch saying in an interview I did with him last week that the team has to earn the right for someone such as himself to go out there and make a trade. Still a lot of football to be played. But what has kind of caught my eye here over the last couple days is that the trading window is certainly open. Usually, it seems like trades occur really close to that trading deadline. But this year, there are already some trades, and Tuesday was no exception. Tuesday, in fact, a couple of trades that took place. So we'll talk about that and also some observations on what it means and how the 49ers can be maybe a little creative with any trades where they try to add somebody that can help kind of bring some juice to that 49ers pass rush. But the first thing I want to touch on is Eddy Pineiro. There it is. NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, Eddy Pineiro. Since he signed with the 49ers, 11 of 11 on field goal attempts. So obviously, what took him so long? He was out there as a free agent for quite some time. As I recall, he was getting ready to go to the Falcons on that Monday. 49ers called him and said, "We want you here." And so he went to Santa Clara. No tryout, no nothing. He was a free agent. And the 49ers pinpointed him to be the guy to replace Jake Moody. So he gets the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week honor after the game against the Rams. And, that 59-yarder he hit, the second longest field goal in 49ers history behind only David Akers. But on this night, he hits from 20, 37, 41, and 59 yards. Eddy Pineiro, the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, 4th time he's been honored in his career. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the trade situation. And it is it catches your eye when you see a couple of trades, including one in division trade. Cleveland, they send Joe Flacco and a 6th round pick to Cincinnati in exchange for a 5th round pick. So both of those draft picks in the 2026 NFL draft. So kind of a unique situation there. I guess the Bengals are just trying to hold this thing together. Maybe they see an opening in the AFC North where the Ravens aren't very good. The Steelers right now appear to be the team to beat in that division, and we know that they're not all that great either. So that division wide open. Maybe the Bengals are thinking if they just kind of can win scratch out a victory here and there, maybe when Joe Burrow comes back, they can make a run. So that's one thing. There was another trade that took place as the Ravens sent a pass rusher, Adafe Owe, and a 7th round pick in 2027. They sent him to the Chargers in exchange for a safety, Alohi Gilman, and a 5th round pick in 2026. So what's kind of interesting there is with that trade, you're talking about a player and a pick for a player and a pick. And so that's an area where, we haven't really talked too much about it. Or I generally don't. It's unique for teams to have player for player trades with draft picks included, of course. But, where could the 49ers make a deal from a position of strength? And, I don't know if there are a whole lot of options there. One position I could see, though, would be safety, where with Malik Mustafa coming back, 49ers had been starting Marquis Siegel and Jason Pinnock. And then they also have Jair Brown, who's has been the third safety and playing a lot of big nickel. So I could see where the 49ers would throw in a safety. Pinnock would be probably the obvious choice because he's a veteran and he's on a 1-year contract. I guess also Jair Brown, but I think the 49ers would want to keep Jair Brown around because he has one more year left on his contract. But that could be a position there where the 49ers are dealing from a position of strength, where if a team would like one of those guys, they could throw a player in on a trade. But here is a look at the 49ers draft capital as they enter this trading period, where it looks like trades now are starting to kind of take shape. So the 49ers have first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, and fourth round pick. Those are their own picks. And then according to overthecap.com, they have 4 compensatory picks, or in line for 4 compensatory picks based on net free agent losses this past year, the 2025 free agent signing period, and then a 6th round pick. One thing to note is the 5th round pick that the 49ers sent to Philadelphia in exchange for Bryce Huff, that turns into a 4th round pick if Huff registers 8 or more sacks. And so with 3 sacks now on the season through 5 games, he looks to be well on his way toward that. I mean, I guess he still has a lot of work to do. 5 more sacks out of these final 11 game, final 12 games. So very doable. So keep an eye on that. 49ers right now would be in line to give the Eagles a 5th round pick, but that could become a 4th round pick. And as I mentioned, I would be really surprised. I mean, darn near shocked if they get somebody of, Trey Hendrickson's, if it's someone of that ilk. I think you're looking more along the lines of Arden Key or Draymond Jones, Carl Granderson, someone along those lines. One guy kind of pinpointed early was Malcolm Kuntz from Las Vegas, but man, he's gotten off to a rough start. So, his asking price, or the Raiders' asking price, would be very low on him. That could be something if we're see a fit there with the system, that they would take somebody who maybe has underperformed up to this point and expect to or hope to get something in return, as far as just the production on the field. So that's where the 49ers are right now. I do think that with the 4 games left before the trading deadline, so they have Tampa Bay, Atlanta, at Houston, at the New York Giants. So boy, 3 of their next 4 games, and total 4 of 5 games over this period on the road for the 49ers, beginning with that Thursday game against the Rams. They win that, but then it's home for Sunday night, or Tampa Bay on Sunday, obviously, and that'll be a really difficult game. In fact, my wife just wandered in here. She has Baker Mayfield on her fantasy team and was asking me, should I start Baker Mayfield? And I said, objectively, and she did say, she goes, I don't want to root for Baker Mayfield. Well, he's on your fantasy team. And it's a really tough ask, I think, for the 49ers defense right now, with the state of their pass rush, to go up against Matthew Stafford one week and Baker Mayfield the next week. I basically told her, I go, what is Yahoo? What do they project the point total? Because I think the 49ers are going to have a really difficult time containing Baker Mayfield, just like they had a difficult time containing Matthew Stafford. And guess what? They still came out of that game with a victory. So a very intriguing matchup, I think, awaits the 49ers on Sunday, going up against a high-powered Tampa Bay offense with Baker Mayfield, who's coming off a great game against the Seattle Seahawks. Mecca Buka, the top rookie wide receiver in the league, and looks to be tracking toward a potential NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year kind of season. So there's that game, and then Atlanta back home on October 19th for that Sunday night game, then at Houston, at the New York Giants. But those are, when you look at it, a decent chance. I mean, the 49ers should go, even with them, those 3 games being on the road, 2-2 at the worst, 3-1 a possibility if they avoid turnovers, start getting some takeaways on offense. They have a chance to enter into that last stretch with the November 4th trading deadline in a very advantageous position, and in a position where John Lynch could be motivated to make a deal again with this being the draft capital that the 49ers have. And when you look at it, clearly they wouldn't give up. I wouldn't think the 49ers would give up a first, second, or third round pick, but with an abundance of potential fourth round picks right now, 4 fourth round picks, but it could end up being just 3 if Bryce Huff has a good season. Um, and the reason I say, I mean, I don't think they'd have to give up a first, a second, or a third in any trade that they swing here late in this process or as the trading deadline nears. Because you still, I mean, you look at those first 3 picks, and I immediately think to next year, whatever order, um, I would think the 49ers would need a dynamic edge rusher, kind of a pass rush specialist, not a 3-down defensive end, but a guy who gets in there and can bring some juice to the pass rush. That would be, in my mind, priority one. 1A would be an offensive tackle, either a left tackle to replace Trent Williams eventually, whenever that time comes, could be sooner than later, or if the long term plan would be to move Colton McKivitz to left tackle, a right tackle. But anyway, a starting caliber, a top 3-round offensive tackle, and then also I think wide receiver is a position where the 49ers need to kind of look at to bring some more talent to that position because right now when you look ahead to next year and where this team could be next year, they're going to need help at wide receiver because I'm not completely convinced that Brandon Ayuk will still be around next year. We don't know where he is as far as his time frame to get back out on the field this year. If he's back on the field this year, everything seems to be just kind of mysterious and open-ended and up in the air. But when you look ahead a year, it's Ricky Pearsall for sure. I think it's Jordan Watkins for sure. And as long as he stays healthy, he might not play at all as a rookie, but I still think that he has a really good chance to be a significant contributor his second year in the NFL. And then, do they bring back Juwan Jennings? Do they bring back Kendrick Bourne? Demarcus Robinson will be on the second and final year of his contract. And then also, kind of the wild card of what the future holds for Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers. So that's a quick rundown update on this Wednesday morning. 49ers are on the practice field a little bit later in the day, and we'll have more information about who's out there practicing, who is trending up toward playing Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and who's trending down. Again, as I've said, I wouldn't expect Brock Purdy to be available to play in this game. I think it's going to be another Mac Jones game with Adrian Martinez as the backup, but know a little bit more later in the day. Also, I think it's looking good for Juwan Jennings to be out there and playing on Sunday. Not so sure about Ricky Pearsall. I do think he has a chance, but I don't think it's a given by any stretch. So that's a quick rundown here on a Wednesday morning. Thanks so much for watching this video, and that is it for now.